Hello and welcome. I am Dominique Perarnaud and this is my session how to audit your existing code in a Domino server with an application with a real case we've made using Lotus script for a customer. Here are the sponsors of this event. Please visit their session. They make a very good job. Here is the agenda. We will go through a real use case with a problem that a customer asks us to solve, how to know the code, audit the code, analyze the code to extract meaningful information from one Domino server once your developer has been out of the installation. We will show how to do it, what were the requirements, and what is the result. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Dominique Perarnaud. I am a citizen developer. I switched to Domino administration. I am in the Yellow Bubble since 2001. I'm actually partner at DEV101. I'm also HCL ambassador for 2 years now. And as you can hear, my French accent. I am French, live in the Basque Country, north of Spain, for nearly 20 years. So I will be your guide to this session. I will show you a tool that I developed with Javier Sanchez Oliva, which is my partner in DEV101. So it's a co-joint work that we've done. It's a pleasure to work with him every day. So we are DEV101. We are based in San Sebastian, a beautiful city on the north of Spain, on the French border, the Atlantic side. And we are an HCL business partner since the start of the adventure in collaboration. So we live in Donostia, San Sebastian, well known for being the third industrial region of Spain, which is good for the business, and also the biggest concentration of 3-star Michelin restaurants in Europe. The food is really, really good. So I will show you how to audit your existing code in a Domino server in a central database just with Lotus script, and so to gain useful information for you, for maintenance, and for making decisions. The context. This is a work-in-progress application. We started in Spanish. It's currently being translated to English. We want to show you the potential that this application can have. And we will mention third-party products because the customer is using them. This is to add value to the presentation, to show the integration. This is not promotion. Okay? The audit can be used without them, but mentioning all the third-party products add value to the presentation. The customer is a city council. He wants to have all the data of the citizens on premise, and his mantra is our citizens are our customers. He must respect the Spanish national framework for security. It means that this has an impact on how he develops his code, how he corrects the code as well. And this is a Domino shop using already other third-party products like Notes Tracker, Marvel Client, Bill Manager for automation, and Ytria is a suite as well as JIRA software. We have a Domino server on version 12.01 with many different servers separated by functionality, development, pre-production, production. Mainly we have only one server for development. Build Manager automates the way to push the code into pre-production and production. We will find any kind of code from formula, Lotus script, Java, web services, and call to external API. The traditional Notes application are coexisting with pure Java application running on a dedicated server. The customer asked us to solve a problem because he was blind. He didn't know what was in the code of his application. But thinking a little bit more, you know that it's not only about this. You get information, and so you can make decision. The functional requirements made by the customer were about having an accurate and up-to-date overview of all database design in one place, one by server, to document the database design in order to know the dependencies between applications from the get-view and get-database in the Lotus script code, for example, knowing the use of the generic script library component that they create in their application, know the dependencies between applications for web services, and see the complexity of the application, as well to be able to answer some question, even if the developer may be gone, and to improve some security aspect. This will allow us to evaluate and to make some decision knowing the cost of any change, so you can make right decision. Another practical requirement, the customer didn't want any license fees. He's calculating the IT cost per user, so no additional license were allowed. So this has to be low cost, homemade. So we make a notes database in Lotus script. The interface for the user must be easy to understand and to use, and have a search functionality. So this is the search bar from the notes database. And so we deliver an accurate and update audit, which is always updated. We can answer urgent requests made by the management, and we enable the IT department to be able to improve, to clean, or to decommission any notes application with this update. We are solving specific problems. So with this audit database, we know your code, the relationship, and dependencies between applications. We are able to see hard code strings like C reference, misuse of temporary folder, hard coding of name, server name, path name, anything, emails, external emails as well. We can detect bad practice to detect bad inheritance of design element. We're able to help for maintenance and improvement by identifying, for example, where the code is calling to Word application or Excel application in order to change this to Libre Office. And we can find some needles in the code. For example, when they update to V12, they found out that some Java application, Java JIRA, were not present anymore. So we detect where was all the code, and we replace the code with a more compliant and up-to-date Java JIRA. One word about the maintenance. This database has an agent which is scheduled, so you update the audit only if the design changed since last scan. The automation for pushing the code to production and pre-production can trigger as well an update in this database. You've got the option to make a manual update, and if the scan of the audit crash and has an error, the next start from the last point of failure, so the audit is more complete. About the size of this database should not be a problem. With our bigger Domino server, which is development, we did not reach even 4 gigabytes, so it's okay. The interface is coming from the V12 system database made by HCL. We had some color-specific columns to highlight some data. And we think in usability first, so we have a specific section with one view equal to one answer. This is the menu part, so for the user it's the most interesting part. The menu on the left side has 5 different sections. First, the listing and the status of all the database present on the server. So it's one document by database. And you can see who is going to be audited and who is not. You can see a second section for automation. You will detect which one of the database is configured, and in action in Build Manager, so you can detect some strange behavior or half configured database. The third section is dependencies. You can see which database A called database B, which database holds the Lotus Scripts component with the inheritance, which document configuration called other database. So it's all about dependencies. The fourth section is the code. This view contains all the document containing the DKSL code. We have one document by design element in each database. So if you have 4 agents, you will have 4 documents in this section for your database. And then the fifth section is called short answers. These are views will give you immediate answer about one question. You can see if I have email hard-coded in my code, server name in my code, username in my code, ex-colleagues which are still present in the code, complete NSF path name in my code, access to C drive, temporary folders, external interface like LAI, and so on until Word, Excel, PDF, and compliance with Nomad Web. This is the configuration document of the audit database. You can configure who is going to receive the alert from the database, the dependency of this database who need to access the Domino catalog, the Domino directory, the Build Manager configuration database, the component script library, and the database made for dependencies. We also keep in this document data from the last run of the schedule agent who make the audit of the data and the last run of any manual run of the exploitation agent. This is the document database. It means we have one document in the audit database per audited database. So mainly the information is a copy of the information we lie in the catalog database, and we had some fields to gather important information, like if we have to audit the design of this database, when was the last run for exploitation and audit, when was the last manual run for exporting and editing this database, is this database is present in Build Manager for automation, and details about the contents of the design of this database. How many design elements do we have per category, as well as some calculate fields, computed fields value that we extract with an audit, like if this database contains calls to Word, Excel, Libre Office, PDF, if we have a use of Xpage, of Java, and Lotus Script to Java Bridge. This is important. As well, we have a special tab to have an embedded view to access directly to the code which is gathered in documents. So one document is one design element on the right of the screen, and you can see as well if one document has a do not refresh tag or a C drive access or a Word Excel call, you can see it in the embedded view, and you can take action and address the problem if for you this is a problem. How to audit the code. We will show you what did we analyze, why we did that, and how we did that. First, we need to know where is our information. The list of the complete list of the database on one server is, as you know, on the catalog database. So we import all the documents from the catalog database. You see that this catalog database on this customer has some customized view, which is interesting. Then we have the web services database, who is a very specific database made by this customer to add some kind of authorization to use for consumers and providers. So this is the place where we can find a clear relation of dependencies of web services. Then we find the central dependencies database, which is a previous work we've done. This database gather in one place all the configuration documents present in each database, home main database. So because each document has a path name field for making possible some DB lookups in the code, we find in this view all the relationship from one database to external database. Okay, so this will be used and copied into our central audit database. Following this, we find the Build Manager database, which deals with automation. So we know and we have all the information about which database is automated, and we can import this information in the audit database. We have a very personal script library component in this for this customer. So this is important. We find this component spread all over the code. We need to map this. And finally, we have all the list of all the database made by the customer. So all in one, this is the information we want to analyze. First gather and then analyze. Once we know where is the information, what we've done is we gather all the information from all these different external database into the central audit database. We didn't copy exactly the documents, but mainly we take the information from the catalog database, add it to a blank document. We use the configuration document. We make specific documents for dependencies. We have the web services dependencies. We extract information from Build Manager automation, and then we make a cartography of the central script library component inside the audit database. So at this point, we have a clear view of dependencies between databases and which one is automated and which one is not. This is a complete list of NSF database, no NTF, no system database in this list, and everything in one place. Once you've got that, you can open the database, and in the first view of the menu, you have the complete list of database, and you can choose to include each database in the analysis and the audit, or to disable the analysis for this very specific database just by the click of one button. And once you already have one audit done, you can reset the analysis in order to retake and rerun the agent. Okay, this can be useful. After you got the complete list, this is the start of an agent who extracts all the code, design element by design element, thanks to DKSL. And we can then pass the code to extract meaningful information about the code, about Lotus script component, about value found in the code from configuration document, about presence of calls to Excel, Word, Dex, AI, ODBC, anything. And then you fill the view you will see after. And otherwise, you can still make a complete search with the full text index in the principal view of code. So at this point, you have accurate information about configuration document, web services, Lotus script component, and more of information. So we go to the interface. In the analysis, you go to the short answers section. You can see some views to see bad practice with hardcode value like email, server names, usernames, database names, all employees, local temporary folder, C drive access. You have some view about interface with DLL, PDF, Word, ODBC, fax, and much more. Information about inheritance and bad practice with do not refresh tags, dependency with database, and use script library, and use value from configuration document, and at the end, compliance for Nomad Web. So we have one view by kind of result. This is the hard-coded value like email. So we go through the Domino directory and make a search for each person present in the Domino directory to see if we can find this name in the code. We make the same with the server name and all the employee denied access group member, C drive as well. We have a dependency view on external database interface like DLL, PDF, ODBC, fax, LAI, DLL, text. These are all based on specific search and mark. You can see a specific view for do not refresh tags if we find some design elements who have a tag to prohibit refresh design. This is important, so you can understand why your design is not good on production when it's okay in development environment. At the same time, we've got some two views specific to deployment to production, which is build manager. And with the color code, you can have a view if there is some specific database which are, for example, present in production and in development, but not in pre-production, which is a bad practice. These allow the administrator to plan which database he has to put into automation and which not. We have a specific view for dependency in the code section. It's based on configuration document, and we can control if this element is accurate or not. You can see the view with the design elements, and you can see in this place the specific column with icons showing some problems to address, like for example a C drive access or a do not refresh tag. We have a specific view for unused value from configuration document. Sometime a database was developed, was using a functionality, and sometimes the value is deprecated. The functionality is not used anymore. The code has been modified, but the configuration document has not been modified. So you find the information in this view. You can also see which script library was never called for any place in the design of the database. So you can get rid of this. Now we are going back to the design. You can see the database document who holds all the information about when run the last audit, if this database will be audited, the automation, the fields for the design elements, and some data about the compliance with Nomad Web. On the right, you can see an embedded view, so you can access directly the document for the design. So you have one document per design element with some characteristic that we found out about, for example, the use of the C drive access or Word and Excel or do not refresh tags. So you have as many documents as a design element, and this is embedded in one database document where you have the view of all the properties.
As we find all the information about the properties of all the design elements, and we kept this information on the design element document and in the database document, we are able to find out the compliance of the database with the requirements for HCL Nomad Web. HCL Nomad Web doesn't like Java Agent, Xpage, and web services, for example. And so we are able to know, we are in a condition to know if the database will be compliant to be used and visualized in a browser using Nomad Web. So this is a work on progress, and we will be able to fill this view soon. A few words about the Lotus script used in this audit database. We use regular and simple Lotus script to export the code in some fields using the create DXL exporter. We use some other database script library, to analyze the code and to extract the information. Most of the work consists in finding how to gather and organize the information in order to present it in an explicit way for the IT management and the IT department. Okay, we extract as well some specific data from the design element, like the last modified date, which is usually mixed with the last modified document on the database properties. You can see on this slide the most important entries of the outline will direct you to the most important view, the one we've made to have a short answer. In each design document, you have a series of fields that gather and hold information that we extract from the analysis of the code. Okay, so if you need anything else, you can just add some fields to the design and make your own personalized view. We use a very simple Lotus scripts and some dedicated views, so we can show the answer to some practical question that the management can have. So you can see how is made the outline. You can see the fields we kept in the design document. So we have one field per answer that we have. Okay, so you can extend the application by adding your own fields, and you add some script in the agent which is running and extracting the information, so you can add your own information. Okay, so some point of interest when running this tool. You have to be manager of all the database that you want to audit the code. So you must be part of the local domain admin or be a super administrator. You do not audit a database who have no design change since the last audit. You do not audit any mail template, mail file, system database. You just audit NSF. So you will see that when you audit some code in the design, you will be able to guess which database has a complex design due to the long time that it needs to extract the design of the database. Okay, on our list we have some possible improvements. We want to add a blacklist, do not audit for database, maybe a whitelist. We want to be able to extract the data and to visualize this with a graph, maybe Xpage, maybe another tool. We want to extend this database with an action triggered on the Ytria API. We can be automate because this customer is a proud user of the Ytria tools. We want to integrate the document view with an action, create a ticket in Jira or ticket in a dedicated database for ticketing, so we can address some problem we identified. So the workflow would be identify a problem, disable the automatic audit for the database, and check some doc links that you insert in a ticket document in order to send the work to your support team. We are able to update the audit after each automatic build process launch from Build Manager. And on the very end, we would like to add an usage database so we can mix the knowledge of which database is complex with and which database has a big usage, so we are able to know if the modification we want to do on one database are very useful, if there is any user who will be using this new feature. So as this is a recording, during the live session I ask the opinion of the people participating in the session, and they give me two feedback. The first one is maybe it will be useful to analyze the resource like CSS and JavaScript files, and maybe it will be useful to have a dedicated view in order to guess if any forms are using Bootstrap v3 or v4. Okay, and on the other side, when I ask if anybody would buy a copy of that work, some tell me that they would be willing to use a freemium version and maybe open to buy a copy of the full version. On the other side, some other people ask me if we are willing to offer this application to OpenNTF. So we didn't make any decision yet. We didn't fully translate the application, localize the application to English because it was a Spanish made application. So first we need to localize to English, we need to add the feature we want to add, and to clean a little bit the code before releasing this application. If this application will be made available on OpenNTF or with asking some money, decent money, I mean asking to pay for the time we spent to develop, we will see, we don't know yet. But you can stick with us using our email, and stick with me with my Twitter account or LinkedIn, so you will keep post with the news about this application. So thank you everybody, and I guess I will make another presentation at Engage with the new version of this database. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you to the people who organized this event, Collabsphere, and to the sponsor. Thank you. Bye bye.